Hello and welcome to our first ever CFL interview panel. I am so excited to be speaking with 4 British trailblazers that are leading the way getting into the CFL. So just welcome to the 4 of you. This is our CFL panel that's powered by INS Management and Exosuit. And I know we're all so keen to learn more and hear more about your story. So just introductions, we've got Glen Toonga, David Izinyon Keanu Ebanks, and Kadel King. So thank you guys so much for being here.
Thanks
for
having us.
Thanks for having us, man.
Have you guys found a difference then when you're on these teams playing with Americans on the team, or do they not stand out as much when you're out in Europe?
No, the Americans definitely do.
Yeah, they
stand out.
definitely do.
If for a certain level, then yeah.
Depends who you're talking about.
Yeah.
I mean, at Dresden, like the Americans are always good. So like you could tell straight away. We wouldn't even have to tell you who the Americans were. And I feel like they normally, just in terms of like what we do every day, they normally are always the ones that like always doing a bit more. But I've heard different stories from like different things.
Yeah.
But at Dresden, the Americans were always doing more. Like they were always like in the gym, or they were the ones who would be like leading film reviews and stuff like that. Or even in practice, they'd normally be like the most vocal ones, or the ones that were like leading. So yeah, definitely like at the teams that I've been at, the Americans were always like, I wouldn't have to tell you that they were Americans, you could just tell.
Yeah, they definitely do a little more than everybody else.
Yeah.
And did that encourage you guys necessarily did it feel like that took away a spot for you guys to step up as leaders, or did you feel that almost pulled that out of you a bit more, seeing, okay, this is what they've done with colleges in the States, this is how they've been brought up, and does that change the way that you view things?
Nah, I thought like having the Americans on my team, I feel like they brought the best, because like the expectations were there. Like even though they were Americans, you were still an import, so you still had to like perform. You were still like expected to take like a leadership role. So I guess they kind of made it clearer to like how you do that, or like how like you perform, or how you lead. So having those guys in the team kind of like made my job easier, because I could see what it was like to be in those positions, and I could do the same thing whether it's for the running backs, or just in the small group that I was in. I guess it made my job a bit easier.
So like there's some Americans who like, unless they have an A in the back, you won't even know they're American.
But I guess people probably could say the same about you guys necessarily, right? There's this kind of understanding of what people think the British players are like, and you guys excel that. So there's no one size fits all blanket for everyone. It's you create your own destiny, you create whatever your future is. And that's really, researching into you guys and your stories. That's one of the things I love about it, is that all 4 of you have such different backgrounds, and you've come so far. So like Kadel, I remember I was listening to a few of your different interviews, and you kind of kept going back into saying like how you took fate into your own hands, and in terms of like you felt like there are people that almost didn't want success for you or thought you couldn't achieve that. I mean, now you're obviously at a place where you're having an opportunity to trial, but that could have really burdened someone back then and could have totally taken the air out of your tires. But how were you able to push through all the noise around you?
Yeah, I have tunnel vision, so like I don't take no for an answer. Like when I started playing at Kent Exiles, there was a certain coach, and he looked at me, he was like, "You'll never play for GB, and if you're lucky, you might get 1 or 2 catches GB." So usually like kids back in those days will take that and they go back home and salt. I took that and I said, "Yeah, I'm gonna go NFL." I told him I'm gonna play pro. So for me, it's always been that I'm gonna prove you wrong, regardless of what you think or even what I see at the time. So at the time when he said that to me, I was terrible. I was terrible, but him saying that to me brought out like a different side of me that I'm like, I had to prove you wrong at this point. So the naysayers always help me to, I say, push a bit harder, because now I'm not just trying to prove myself right, I'm trying to prove you wrong. And when you have someone to like compete against in a way, so for me it was a mental competition. I have someone to compete against, it drives me even more.
I love that. And I know that kind of ties in with you, Keanu, in terms of you'd actually trialed for GB, hadn't you? And
didn't that. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's not to throw anything at you, but the fact that you had trials and you weren't successful, but that doesn't necessarily mean that's the only pathway for you. Can you kind of hit on that a bit more for us?
I mean, I sent the film in. They didn't even invite me to the day for the trial, so never mind trial. Never got anything. And I'm the type of person who works hard with a chip on the shoulder. And you know that meme of Michael Jordan where I took that personally. That's me. Everything anybody ever says, I take it personally. It just gives me more energy to work harder.
Yeah,
so
the coaches who are like, yeah, nah, this guy ain't good enough. I'll probably looking back now, like, damn.
Yeah.
Someone's probably having words with that guy, like, yo, you missed out on this.
It is what it is, I guess. But I mean, yeah. I mean, it worked out in the end, right?
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, and that goes back to kind of taking that fate in your own hands. I mean, early on, you then started messaging coaches through your Europlayer account and getting yourself out there. And I can imagine that you had quite a few no's, you know, that build up that resiliency before you got that final yes. And I know you said you actually ended up getting a couple of yeses when you finally got that yes, right?
I mean, Europlays is, someone said it the other day, Europlays is the trap, yeah.
Yeah.
The thing with Europlay, sorry, go on.
I was gonna say, what Europlay is the worst ever.
Yeah. I mean, the thing with Europlays, you won't even get annoyed, you won't get an answer, you'll get a scene or get a red. And no response at all.
Yeah. I don't know what's wrong with you guys Europlay, but my Europlay be puffing.
It is now, but I mean, back then when I first started playing, I was getting no play at all. And then I was actually talking to a French team, and they really wanted to sign me, but then I got the invite to go to Germany for a tryout in Hildesheim, and so I went there, and then Hildesheim were like not really getting back to me, and I was just about to sign for the French team. And then Hildesheim rang me. I was like, okay, we want to offer you a spot. And this is how much we can offer you. And I was like, I almost started crying on the phone. I was like, oh my God, this is an opportunity I've been waiting for so long. And it was honestly crazy.
Oh, I can imagine, especially after you've put so much of yourself into something, and it can be quite emotional, really, things like that. I mean, not like it's quite the same, but I remember my first call from Coach McDermott when he called and said, like, you are going to be a Bill now, like that forever still gives me goosebumps to this day, you know, like you'll never forget that feeling, that being a part of something that you've been working towards, obviously will give you, which is, you know, why I'm also so excited for all of you to be able to experience that, being able to trial and do the CFL Combine. I kind of hitting back on the GB point. I mean, David and Glenn, you guys both played for GB or continue to play for GB, however you look at it. How have you found that experience in terms of prepping you for either going to Europe or if it didn't, you know, can you talk to me a bit about that? David, I see that smile, so you can go first.
GB got me, to be honest, man. I remember, I think it was like 2015 or 2016 after the Warriors championship, and I was on cloud 9. I was like, you just won a championship. I had a good game, blah, blah, blah. Then we had a GB camp, and then they were like, oh yeah, we're going to review the film and get back to you. Then they were just like, yeah, fam, you're really not fitting to the scheme right now. I was like, huh? I was like, what? You know, this is what I did like 2 weeks ago. And then, yeah, that kind of like, I still wanted to play for GB a lot then, but it was like, now I'm going to really just focus on me and try and just get myself out there as much as I can any way possible. And yeah, that really like fueled the fire when I went to Hamelina, to be honest. That's why I was up and down the field and became top 5 tackler and I missed, I think, about a game or two. And yeah, that really fueled me. So when I actually got to GB, I was like, yeah, I'm out here now, man. I'm about to show you lot what you lot had earlier on if you took me. So that's how I got there, man.
Yeah, I love that because I saw, I mean, over the 2 seasons in GFL2, you had 272 tackles. Like, that's insane for them to just kind of put that to the side. But yeah, again, that kind of chip to fuel you a little bit. Sometimes you need that, even if you need to just create that narrative in your head to power you through. Glenn, what about you?
I kind of always wanted to play for GB. Like, I kind of looked at it differently. So for me, it was kind of like, if I only go to the GFL, I kind of need to play for GB, because if I'm not playing for GB, then the team might be thinking, why would we take the guy who's not the best running back from the UK when we could just message one of the guys that are actually playing for GB. So like one of my goals the year before I went to Dresden was that I need to get on that GB roster. I can tell teams that, yeah, you know, I am one of the best running backs in the country. Even though that's not always the case, because it's not always the best guys who play for the country like we've seen with these guys, but it just speaks volumes. So my route into GB was a bit smooth. Like once I got invited to the trials, I got invited to camps. I wasn't starting straight away, but I kind of knew that I was, no offense to those guys, I kind of knew I was better than all the other guys that were there. And then, yeah, I kind of felt that really helped. Because like one of the things that I did mention to Dresden was like, yeah, you know, I played for GB. And I felt that kind of helped my case a lot, because then they knew like, okay, yeah, he's one of the best guys in this country. So, yeah.
And then in terms of, I guess you said it then, you made it one of your goals to play for GB. I mean, I know, Kadel, you'd been out in the state, in Canada, apologies, and playing out there, and you had the idea that you were able to go and trial for the CFL Combine back then. And I know that's, you know, I'm not trying to bring up anything in particular, but it's more so the idea of, have you guys ever thought, you know, previous to the past year or so, that even trialing for a CFL Combine was an opportunity or a road for you guys?
Yeah, so for me, when I went to prep school in Canada, went to Canada Prep, and I was getting like D1 interest. Like a lot of my team went to D1. Neville Gallimore's in the league right now, and a lot of them on the CFL. So like from prep school, I was always used to say, yo, I want to go NFL. If the NFL don't work, I'm gonna try CFL out. When I didn't get my D1 offers, because my eligibility, I decided to go to Canadian school. Then the CFL that was the route. I was like, you know what, I'm gonna go to CFL, and then whatever happens from there, you know. So for me, the CFL has been a goal for like the last 6-7 years. That makes sense.
Wow, awesome. David, what about you in terms of trialing for the CFL?
The idea came up my first year in Rostock. I think the cornerback there tried out for, I think it was Calgary or something like that. And then I was like, oh snap. I really didn't know much about the CFL at that time, but I was like paying attention with it, but not as much. And then when 2019 came and like the first global draft happened, then I was like, oh snap, there's actually a possibility. That's when the interest like started really like building up to this moment, really.
Wow. Keanu, what about you?
I mean, Glenn, Kadel and I all got invited to NFL Combine, International Combine. So I think that's when the idea that we could play over in North America really, really started. The fact that they saw we could play and we go and do our thing over here. And that's when the idea of the CFL started coming to my mind, to be honest. And then obviously I found out we was doing a combine in the UK. And then that's when things got serious, really.
That's awesome. And have you found, I guess, in terms of, because you've trialed now with the NFL Combine out in Germany, have you found any learnings from that you would now carry forwards to this upcoming CFL Combine?
Treat it professionally. It's obviously a huge opportunity. Well, I mean, there's 4 of us getting the opportunity at this point, so obviously it's huge. Treat professionally and just work. Honestly, just work. Put the work in. Do what you need to do and get ready for it.
Yeah, and how did you, David, manage the kind of disappointment, really? You guys were prepping for the Combine last year, and then obviously everything fell through, but now you've had to re-energize yourself. I mean, how do you as an athlete mentally and physically kind of ride that roller coaster of, okay, I'm about to be doing this huge part of my life, and then that gets dropped? I mean, how did you manage to pick yourselves up and get yourselves back to this point where we are now?
I'm very religious, so I did a lot of prayers. Like I was praying a lot with my family, to be honest. So, and then it was kind of disappointing about the first week, but then it was like I knew other teams were playing in Europe, so I was like, okay, maybe I'll see if someone hollers at me or something. And then it was just like keeping that focus as like, I knew it wasn't the end, but I knew like it wasn't the game plan now. So kind of thing. So I still had the focus and the mindset that it was gonna happen later, but I just didn't know when. So yeah, that's when I took the opportunity to go and play in Poland like last year when we got the news. Yeah.
Wow. And I mean, you've all now played in Europe, and Keanu, I know you're out in Sweden right now, but have you found playing abroad has helped kind of prepare you for going into the CFL or getting ready to do the CFL Combine?
Yeah,
100%,
Definitely.
yeah.
Yeah. I feel like one game film is like a big thing. I feel like this the quality of tape. No offense to UK. The quality of film is like much better abroad. So it's easier to see when like you make good plays. It's easier to see like for scouts or for teams to see like all the good stuff that you do on film. And I feel like also even just being around the other guys, like you meet a lot of guys who have like similar stories or have taken similar journeys to you, or just completely different journeys, but you're all here in the same place. It's like one thing, for example, I used to think that it was crazy that I had to do my own S&C. But then like, I got to Europe and I found that it was a normal thing. And so that kind of made me want to get better and like just being around like all the other guys from like different countries who are also good players, but I guess they played slightly different because of where they were from. That also was like great to be around. So I definitely think that playing in Europe definitely helps like the preparation for this or just to get better as an athlete, really.
And also, like the quality of football in Germany is a lot higher than it is in the UK. No disrespect to the UK, but it is.
A lot of the UK is you can't like the training in Germany is so much different. You got teams training like 3 to 4 times a week. On the UK, it's hard to do that with everyone's dedication. So most times it's either just Wednesday and then Sunday game, or it's just Sunday training or game. And I think that elevates the level so much more that people don't really understand as much.
And they play football from a younger age over there as well. In Germany, they have a lot of really good youth programs. So, and obviously they bring the Americans in. So it's like iron sharpens iron, really. Like you get better because you have to go against better competition.
Yeah, I'm gonna be that guy and say no. I came straight from like college when I went to Potsdam. So like I was used to Monday to Friday, you're practicing game film, workouts, Friday walkthroughs and games, you know. Repeat that every week. So coming to Europe, completely different. You have what 2 or maybe 3 practices a week. You have your own, you have to go to the gym by yourself. People, you don't really watch film, the team, unless you're watching film by yourself, you don't know the other team's favorite formations, their favorite plays. I played games in Europe before, and I didn't know who the star player was in that team until they scored a touchdown. Right? So like, for me, it was like coming back to Europe, I had to like readjust to the lifestyle here because again, in Europe, we don't really take football that seriously that they do overseas because again, overseas they breathe, they live football. In Europe, it's more so a hobby for half the team. So half the team, they will choose to go to work than play games. And then you have to come to practices with like 12 people, games you had like 30 out of the blue. So Europe did have its perks because
I thought that might be your team.
Yeah, bro, that's wild. That never happened at Hildesheim.
Bro, I'm talking. Yeah, bro, I play, but I ain't gonna lie, bro. We can't talk about teams, man. All my teams would beat your teams, man. Hey.
Oh my gosh. I mean, I guess and that's
a good game, you know. That'd be a good game right there, you know, man.
What would be a good game?
Kadel already knows what the score was when we played a minute. So
listen, bro, Big Gush went about it, bro. 17 tackles and 3 fumbles, bro. Bring up the film. Y'all beat Big Gush, y'all beat me, bro. Y'all beat Big Gush, you didn't beat me, bro. Y'all beat Big Gush, you didn't beat. Y'all beat Big Gush, you beat me, bro.
Joe Landon always pump his team. Always beat.
Oh. Potsdam don't count, bro.
Okay. Whole year don't count. I feel you. Okay, I see.
I do not claim Potsdam, bro, from that year. I know, bro.
I said, ooh.
Well, I guess that's a good point, Kadel, because you've actually been a part of quite a few different teams now. I mean, how do you kind of absorb the playbook, understand the terminology? I mean, because these are also things that at a combine, and if I were a team, you know, we've worked out guys with the Bills, and we're not just looking for what your athletic ability is. I want to know what's your mental recall. Can you teach me your playbook? You know, I want to know your football IQ and your emotional IQ as well. So, you know, how have you been able to manage understanding and executing all these different playbooks?
All came in college, really, because when I was in college, I had no idea about playbooks. I didn't know what cover 2 was. I didn't know what cover 5 knew. Linebackers have hook the curl all the time. So just dropping in hook the curl, you're good. But when I was in college, my mentor at the time, Hina Mwamba, he used to call me all the time and make sure, okay, cool. Know what you have at cover 2. This is your drop for cover 3. And I started to learn, depending on the coverage, your drop is different. So before just be the same drop all the time, but cover 2, you have to drop a bit different because the corner's in the flat. The corner, cover 3, the corner is a bit more up. So when I was in college, I was getting taught more and more. When I went to Frankfurt, that's when Coach K, he actually like really sat me down and was like, okay, cool, Kadel, this is how we play in Europe, and this is how you have to adapt your game to Europe. So when I was in Potsdam, for example, I was still playing like I'm in Canada. You'll see me doing hop steps, you'll see me doing like different drops, the Canadian drops. Right? Because one thing that you guys will realize when you go to Canada, there's an extra guy in the field. The drops are completely different. Like, so when I went to Frankfurt, Coach K, he sat me down, took me through the drops. So I kind of like learned playbooks fast, because I was in Canada. I learned that one through being mentored through it. Same thing in Europe. I was mentored through it. So now I go to a playbook and every playbook is different, but it's the same stuff. Just different terminology, and different like rules. So maybe Frankfurt, you have 3x1, different coverage. In Bitgus, 3x1 is a different coverage, but it's still like the same. My job stays the same basically. So yeah.
Yeah, just understand the terminology. I mean, I remember my first training camp, like I almost was like a deer in headlights in terms of I couldn't understand the terminology that they were using. So therefore I couldn't like form sentences to ask questions. So it's interesting to hear from your perspective, you know, how you've all been able to manage that, you know, also working in foreign countries and your ability to adapt to those environments.
Yeah.
So I know you've mentioned it now, Kadel, and I'm sure the same for you, for the rest of you. In terms of mentors, or is there any one person that's kind of been a big part of your journey or just supported you in any way that you think has helped you kind of get to where you are today or kind of mold you into the person you are? David, you're nodding your head, so let's go to you first.
In London Warriors, it was now Scott Grant. I think in my first year there, I was still clowning around, still joking around practices, and then like he just comes and start drilling you, like, what's going on? What's this? What's that? What's that? What coverage you in? And then it was like, I was like, bro, leave me alone, like my like my first couple of weeks there. But then after a while, when he started explaining it, like you need to understand all these concepts and things. And then when I got to Europe in Rostock Griffins, it was Coach K. Christopher Kufeld, yeah, he really like made me understand the linebacker position.
Wow. Keanu?
In the UK, it would have been my coaches from University of Hull, so Gareth Wild and Paul Weston. Paul taught me a lot about like offensive schemes and how to read stuff. And in Europe, it would have definitely been Coach Gerrit Meister. He joined the Invaders in 19, and he's honestly the reason that I'm here talking to you guys right now. He taught me basically how to play a defensive line position from scratch. Again, he taught me techniques, footwork, and like I said, I wouldn't be here right now talking to you guys or getting any of this attention from scouts or anything if it wasn't for him.
Wow. Glenn?
I've had loads. I like every stage there's been like multiple people. I think when I first started at Southampton, my first running back coach, he taught me like all the basic stuff. Like I don't think I've ever done as many running back drills as I did with him. That was Coach Hogan. And then at Blitz, Coach Stewart was like, Coach Miller was a big, like he taught me how to actually read, how to make reads. And then obviously like my boys, because we all played on the same team, we just always compete. So they were almost like mentors because we like question each other and ask each other questions, but it was always in the form of competition. So it was always a case of like, oh, you don't know this, you don't know that. And obviously you'd have to go and learn that stuff. So that was definitely a big help. At Dresden, I'd say the offensive coordinator was really good. He was really good there, Coach Cruz. And again, my teammates, like we'd always compete. We always had like high expectations of each other. So again, like he didn't want to disappoint. So we'd always like be bouncing off of each other, always like learning stuff. Because we did like a lot of film review together, we'd always like coach each other on like what we saw and like how we'd react to stuff. And then my most recent one at Lowlanders, I think would definitely have to be Coach Booker. Like he's smart. I've never met such a smart coach before, but he's smart. Like when he broke down like our scheme, like I've never seen someone break down an entire scheme and everything is so relevant. Every play kind of bounces off everything. Yeah, he definitely opened up my eyes to like how like an offense is run. Like rather than like individual plays, he broke down everything in terms of, okay, this is our main play. It's like what everything comes off of. And, you know, if they react like this is like all the other plays. But yeah, Coach Booker is probably like one of the smartest coaches that I've played under. So yeah.
And last but not least, Kadel.
I had like a lot of great mentors over the years, but I think like the most influential one was probably like Tony Bainbridge from KXS. So like he's died now, God rest his soul. But when I went to Bristol, so KXS didn't want me to leave. They want me to stay. So they didn't want to hand over. They basically said try to stop me from going. And Tony Bainbridge, like he put his neck out for me, man. He fought for me. And that was like the first time I had someone like really believe in me in the sport, you know. And he used to like send me messages like, "Yo, keep pushing, keep doing what you're doing. You're gonna go far." And even when I went to Canada Prep and came back, he was always checking up on me. So like football knowledge, he wasn't probably the best. I probably had a lot better, but like influentially, like he like to this day I remember everything he's done for me, you know. So I think he was definitely the most influential person.
That's pretty amazing. I mean, you were one of the, I mean, out of this call, you're pretty much the only one that's actually gone through the youth junior system in terms of in the UK. So to have a coach like that you still can, you know, remember and experience all of the things, like it means so much to have someone fully believe in you. And I know we talk a lot about you have to believe in yourself 100%, but sometimes having that external belief in you just helps elevate you in the way you view the world.
Yeah. You won't know how to believe in yourself unless you feel someone else believe in you first, you know? So he was definitely like the anchor for me.
That's mega. And I know going back to Keanu, you mentioned earlier about your coaches and actually you were one of the players that played both ways for quite some time. I mean, you were D-line and offensive tackle. I mean, how did you manage that? And at what point did it come to having to actually decide on a position? Because, you know, in the UK, a lot of our quality players, like if you're an athlete, you're probably going to play both ways.
Yeah, I mean, that's how it goes. I mean, honestly, playing O-line was a break from playing D-line. Back then, it was the only way I could like get my breath. Like I'd play every snap apart from punts. So, and I was pretty good at D-line, not to my own horn, but I was a pretty good pass rusher back in the day. I could teach you a couple things, Kadel, David, if you want.
Yeah, I'm a team of the decade at Bristol, bro. I'm good, bro.
Good, all right. Just wanted to make sure, in case you want a little help. And then when I got to Germany is when I had to decide, because you can't. Had to be crazy athlete to play both ways at that level. To be honest, I don't know anybody who does it consistently. Glenn, I don't know if you guys think anybody who does it both ways.
No.
What, the GFL level?
Yeah.
Yeah. No.
Yeah. No. So
I know some people who can though, but
no one really
does
can, but no one does. It's too tiring. Yeah. So I had to make a decision, and honestly, I'm better offensive lineman than I am defensive lineman. So I went with that, and it stuck. Even though I was undersized when I first got to the GFL, I was like, when I got to Germany, I was like 255, and like Kadel said, that first pot to post game, I got absolutely bullied. Definitely a welcome to the GFL moment.
Sometimes you need that to remember it. I mean, there's definitely been times that like I play linebacker that I've had like this snot knocked out of me. And sometimes you just need that to be like, oh, okay, humble you a little bit. And then it makes you want to work harder. Like I know, Glenn, you talk so much about the competition and how much you enjoy that. I mean, most people who know you know that you're really quite a jovial guy, but actually seeing you on the field, you're able to really switch that on. I mean, is that something that just kind of comes naturally to you? Or, I mean, you were like a track athlete. So how does that translate into being a running back for you?
I guess I just love competing. So it just always came naturally. I wasn't always like aggressive before, like coming from a track background. I didn't like the aggression. I didn't like the physicality of the sport. But then like going to Blitz and like meeting all my friends, because we used to compete so much, it's something that I just had to like, I had to start liking it. Especially when we do like one-on-ones, when I first started the sport, I'd be one of those guys who would like kind of shy away at the back, and I'd kind of pick, okay, the smallest guy is number 4 in the line, so I'm gonna go against the smallest guy. But then when I got to blitz, and like, yeah, my boys, because they'd be calling me out, I had no choice. I couldn't like shy away. So and like on the field, I guess I don't really have any friends. I keep going up against any of these guys, but during the game, we're not friends, man. Like I'm trying to win. I'm trying to win.
He
So,
shot at me for no reason, bro.
Yeah,
QB scored a touchdown. He came out of nowhere and hit me for no reason, man. You should get ejected for that, man.
But yeah, like, during the game, I don't have any friends. Like everyone's an enemy. So yeah, but after, you know, we can laugh, we can be cool again. But yeah, during the game, I don't have any friends. So yeah.
I like that. That's awesome. And I know, David, you come from a rugby background, but I mean, have you found that's helped you moving into the linebacker position, or how did you actually find that transition? Because I know a few of rugby people that have gotten involved in the sport and they really struggle with it at first with the start-stop nature. And obviously you're used to going both ways. So how did you find that?
Well, I think it helped me a lot with like my endurance now, and as well as my understanding, like reading running backs when I'm playing is like there's a more understanding of the whole, there's more understanding of their schemes, because like I've played running back and I see the blocking scheme. But obviously a lot of change now, but it like helped my eye discipline, to be honest. And man, yeah, it was good in them days. I can't lie.
Hey, David, if you saw David at uni, he was a big guy. The thing is, I know for a fact you could just tell David wasn't a running back, innit? But they was put him at running back.
Just
athlete.
I'm like, God damn, like,
you know what's funny? Like after every game, I would be dead, dying, and everybody else would be like cool, like walking around. I'd be laying down on the floor, I'd be like, yo, why is everybody so okay after the game? I don't understand. We play the same game, and then I realized, oh yeah, wait, both ways, yeah.
But surely that's like one of the few, I mean, there's probably a bunch of things that separate you guys from everyone else, right? I mean, the fact that the 4 of you are now going to go to CFL Combine, yeah, I mean, it's awesome, and it felt like death back then, but there's probably quite a few like characteristics of you guys like that you have in common that have gotten you to where you are. I mean, something has had to separate you from the rest of the pack. I mean, are there other kind of traits or things that you do you feel separate you from the general population?
Mentality, I'd say.
Yeah, I think, yeah.
Mentality.
I think knowledge is the game, really. Like I know
as well, yeah.
I know like the whole of running backs about to hit before he hits it. I played a lot of seasons, played a lot of running backs. Then you can pick up the film. But like, yeah, you know, I know. Listen, I know a lot. Bro, listen, bro. I don't mind, bro.
Phoebe, you got to play some of the film.
Go play it, man. Listen,
go play 2019 because this guy's not playing around anymore.
You put a play in a highlight, bro. You cut it early for a reason, man.
Yo.
So listen, bro, I want all the smoke. And any running back from Europe, I tell them all the time, I want all the smoke. Any running back. There's not one running back in Europe I'm scared of, you know. So, like, I know I've watched the game a lot. I studied the game a lot. I'm a student of the game. So I see your formation. I know who your favorite running back, who your favorite lineman is. Every team has a favorite old lineman run behind. You know, every team has their favorite run play, their go-to run play. And I've studied the game enough to pick out from 1 or 2 drives what plays they like to run in the run game. So for me, what separates me in Europe is my knowledge of the game. So I've tried to stay one step ahead because a lot of my plays happen in the run game, and I try to stay one step ahead of the offense in the run game. So the knowledge of the game.
That's a big part people don't necessarily think about. I mean, if you're in the UK and you're watching this right now, I mean, I'd be leaving this thinking I need to start studying more film. You know, there are opportunities. Yeah, we might not have the best film out there, but you can look back to any of the GFL games or any, you know, Maple League, whatever it is, and you can start watching film and really working on the student of the game, which is obviously imperative because you're kind of like Luke Kuechly, right? Calling it before it almost happens, which is pretty awesome.
Don't gas him like that, please.
If you tell the truth, it's not gassing, bro. If you tell the truth, it's not gassing, man. Like, what's this film? Like, none of you guys can say, what's the film? Man, it's on the film. You know what I'm saying? So, for me, if you study the film from Bristol, I used to watch film like at least 3 hours after every practice. Canada prep, at least an hour with the team, an hour by myself. College, I lived and breathed film. Potsdam, I didn't watch film. I can't lie, but I didn't watch any film. But at Frankfurt, watch film all the time. Kuopio, watch film all the time. And people don't understand, but that takes your game to a completely different level. If I see a 3x1 trip, and I see, let's say, Glen's in the offset, I know the run play that they run out of that play. They have like 2 to 3 run plays in Europe, right? And all you need to read is the one step in the alignment to know what's coming. If it's a pull, if it's a stretch, or the inside zone. So film is the biggest thing that people like neglect in Europe, because in Europe they think they need to be an out athlete everyone, right? But at one point you'll meet an athlete better than you. Either if they're a bounce back from that NFL, CFL, or D1 guy, they're going to be a better athlete than you. But one thing that I would say as Europeans that we can be on par with, or even better than Americans, or even NFL players, is our knowledge of the game. You don't have to be an NFL player to be a great coach or have great knowledge of the game. You just have to study, you know? So if one thing that people watching this or listen to this take from it is study the game, because they're going to be, your 40-yard will take you so far, your bench press will take you so far. When you go into the meeting room and then the coach realizes that you're no dig at anyone, this is just me talking, that you're a track star rather than a football player, you're leaving that room and then they're going to say you look like Tarzan, play like Jane. You know what I'm saying? So
I'll try not to take offense to that, but
oh no.
Come on, Kadel, let's go. Linebackers, let's get it.
Listen, I don't want no smoke with you, man. I don't want no smoke. I'm sorry.
No, but it's true, right? 100%. Like and that's just it. It's when all these teams are looking for who you are, whether you're trying to get out to Europe or trying to get to CFL or NFL, if you are just an athlete, that's not enough. You need to bring more to the table. And I mean, I know you guys have talked about having to do your own strength work, but I mean, that's massive to get to where you need to be as well, right? So like Glen, right now, I know you and David are working out together. I mean, how have you managed to keep that going throughout lockdown and keep yourselves motivated for almost you didn't really know when this date was coming?
I think having someone to train with, or like having people to train with, was a big deal. So before like me and David started training together, I was training with Mike. Before with Mike, during I was in Poland, I was training with my boy Tony. So always having someone that had like, I guess, had similar goals or similar like work ethic definitely helped, because it wasn't just me. There was always someone to, I guess, on the days that I didn't really want to train, there was always someone there to compete, or someone always there to like mentally push me. And then, yeah, I guess that really helps, especially now. I guess that we know what we're working towards. That's definitely helps. But like during lockdown, it was definitely hard. But I guess the working out also was like a way to get away from everything that was going on in the world. So like sometimes it wasn't about me having to get better. It was more so just, you know, me going and being able to forget about the fact that we're in a pandemic and, you know, all the things that are going on, was more so to get a break, rather than always me trying to get better. Sometimes it was just, trying to get a break from everything. So, yeah.
Yeah, it becomes a form of meditation, really, right? In terms of whether it's on the field playing or you're in the gym working out, it's a space where you can kind of block the rest of the world out. And whether for you, David, it's spiritual as well, you know, it's whatever helps you achieve that kind of peace and a bit of time for yourself, which I know a lot of people right now have been struggling with over the past year. So it's, you know, it's definitely great opportunities, you know, just getting fresh air and all of that. And I know we've kind of touched on this a little bit, but is there one thing that you would say that you each do regularly that is really hard, but it's so worth it? Does that kind of make sense? There's something that you kind of do either every day or every week that's become a habit for you, that's not something that's easy, but you still push through and do it?
Stretch at night.
That's real.
Stretching at night. Yeah, because like it's so hard when I'm in bed at night and I'm like, oh, I gotta get out of bed to stretch. It's so easy for me to be like, oh yeah, I'll do it tomorrow. Especially coming from a background where like we didn't really stretch. You know, it was always, I guess, the stuff that you can do if you want. But I have definitely seen benefits from it. I definitely see benefits from it, like the morning of, like the day after and stuff like that. So stretching is definitely one of those things that I always have to like battle with myself and always like get myself to get out of bed or get out off the couch and, you know, do like a quick half an hour stretch or do a quick routine.
For me, it's eating. Like being an offensive lineman, you have to be heavy, and honestly, playing's easy, working out's easy, eating eating food is difficult when you gotta get your like 5.5, 6,000 calories in a day in the season. It's like it's 8 p.m. You got 3,000 calories left. You're like, okay. best start cooking.
Okay, when man said okay, I've had that one, man. I've had that one.
So you just sometimes you just have those days where it's a chore. Honestly, it's a chore to eat. Like you try to drink a lot of my calories now because it's a lot easier. But sometimes it's a chore to eat. But you got to do it to keep weight and stay in shape and just keep going, keep things ticking over.
What about you, David or Kadel?
I can't lie. Mine, pre-lockdown, it was stretching and eating together, to be honest. Because when lockdown hit and the season got cancelled, yeah, your boy kind of gained a couple extra pounds, didn't it? From whole family was in the house, so there was always food and then African food as well. So it was like, you don't get that on the regs like that. So it was like I had to control myself and start like tracking calories again after like 3 weeks of just eating straight BS, if I could say. And then stretching where, because them days it was the home lockdown thing. So it was you're doing a lot of like home workouts, and then you're waking up like, damn, I shouldn't have done them 30 push-ups or them 100 and something this, that, and it's like, yeah, it took a while to start getting back into the habit of like stretching, eating right, and everything to get my body like back to normal. So I think those are the two that were hard for me.
Sure. Kadel?
Something I do every day. I'll say like meditation and visualization. So, because especially in the lockdown and pandemic, and I travel a lot, so I played in like 3 different countries last year and this year. So, because of restrictions, like a lot of stuff won't. Selfless plug, bro. A lot of restrictions, you know, I have to adapt to it. And one thing that I can always keep doing is like visualizing playing football, meditating over like why I'm still playing football, why I'm grateful for football, because the pandemic was crazy. Like I know a lot of you guys, myself included, went through like a form of depression, you know, at one point. So I just keep reminding myself, okay, why am I doing this? Why I love the sport? Okay, when I'm going to play the sport again, when I play the sport, what are my keys? What do I need to keep my eyes on? If I do play the game in your head, you know? And that's one thing I always do. I play the game in my head. So yeah, visualization and meditation.
I love that. And I think you touched on it a bit in terms of the mental health thing. I mean, it's really easy for people to, you know, look at all of us, to be honest, and think, oh, well, these guys are at the top of their game. They're getting to do this. They're out there. But actually, a lot of times that's just social media, right? And we can't forget that social media is not real life. And the amount of people I personally have spoken to that, yeah, they might be great in social media, but inside, everyone's struggling in some way, shape, or form. We just might not display it. So you guys might be being really strong for everyone out there, but inside, that doesn't mean that you don't need something, right?
Yeah. So, yeah. I gotta say a bit more, but we good.
You're welcome to.
I agree. Yeah, I definitely agree.
Y'all say what you want to say, man.
Yeah, get off your chest, man.
You're in our circle of truth here.
No, but it's like with the game of football, like you go through like depression, bro. Like for me personally, cause I traveled when I was in Canada, I went through like crazy depression. Like I loved Canada, it was great, but boy, there was some times. My first injury, I went, bro. I was in my room for like a month. Man, I didn't leave my room. I didn't go to class. I didn't eat. I didn't do anything. Because when you identify just as a football player, because a lot of these kids too, because I grew up in the UK, all I knew was football. You know, I didn't know all my dreams to become an architect. That to the side, you know, I'm a football player, and my identity was football. So when that was taken away from me, I was find myself in a dark place. So from that moment, I said, yo, one, you're more than a football player, always. And two, always remember why you're playing the sport, why you love it, and your reason why. Because all it takes is one bad day. It takes one bad day and your love for the game gone, just like that. I've seen it happen to many people. One day they're good, they're ready to go to the league. Next day is, man, I don't know about the league today, man. You know, damn, maybe I'll do it next year. And I even felt like that during the pandemic. I was like, maybe I'll do the CFL next year, you know? Maybe not this year. This year, I just sort my life out. But it's always reminding yourself and like having that mental like fight with yourself. Like, no, don't let these negative thoughts creep in. And like David, prayer, you know? David does it for prayer. My family is very religious. They pray for me all the time. And just reminding yourself all the time why I am doing this, why you love the game, you know, why you deserve to be where you are, and to fight that imposter syndrome, you know, because a lot of the time you feel imposter. I'm in a situation where I'm like, am I really that good to try to really be doing or playing for teams I'm playing for? Is all that hype, is it really worth? Is it really truth, or is it just hype for real? And just fighting that every day is just saying, yo, you are who you're meant to be. If God has ordained you to be who you are, that's who you are. And just keep becoming a better version of yourself every day. And so, yeah.
Yeah. I think one thing that Kadel touched on that I really liked was, like, especially being in the UK, I think a lot of people always assume that you have to be doing football all the time. And it's so easy to get lost, or to almost lose yourself in like the process of getting to, like, whether it's college or Europe or the NFL or the CFL. It's like one thing that like I really struggled with was it got to a point where I found that all I did was football. And like when we weren't playing or when we weren't practicing, it was really hard for me to do other stuff. So like one thing that I found that really helped was to like identify myself as like things other than just a football player. So like spend a lot of time doing hobbies, you know, talking with friends and family, because it's really easy to, you know, when all you do is football, if you have a bad day at practice, which is inevitable, it ruins your whole day. Whereas like when you, I guess you can identify yourself as like someone else, after a bad day of practice, you can always go and do like whether it's skating, or, you know, if you're an uncle, you can always go and talk to your nieces and nephews. Something that I found that like it's important to, although you have to work hard and make sacrifices, it's just as important to, I guess, always have things that you can do that are not relevant or not related to football at all, that you can always just, I guess, like put your mind aside or just relax, I guess. Yeah,
that's a good point. Yeah, man, you got to stop and smell the roses sometimes as well. Like, we've all got to a certain level of football, and we need to just, I feel like we need to enjoy it at some point, like, rather than just always, I feel like I'm always chasing the next part of the process. You feel me? Like CFL, NFL, always trying to think about the next thing, and I realize I'm not actually enjoying. I mean, I am enjoying, but I'm not like, okay, wait, I'm in a different country, playing football, and getting a huge opportunity. Do you know what I mean? So sometimes you just got to enjoy the moment.
Yeah, and celebrate what you've achieved as well, which is really hard, I think, as competitors. Like you're saying, Keanu, you're always looking to what's next. I mean, you guys have all hit on some really great points. You know, it's because all of us have sacrificed to get to where we are, right? There's been tons of family, friends, whoever that we've let down because we've had football, and making sure that we have another identity that's outside of, like, who am I if I don't have football? And, you know, Kadel, you talked about it too, like imposter syndrome is very real. Like you have these moments of doubts. I mean, I know, like, even when I left Buffalo, when I made that, like, I decided to leave Buffalo after OTAs, and you feel like you almost have to explain yourself to people. And when you kind of just realize, actually, I don't need to do that. Like, I made a decision. I'm confident in that. But that's not easy, right? Especially when you got lots of people like this in your ear. You know, you guys will have that.
Yeah.
For sure. And yeah, I think it's just kind of realizing the human side of things too. It's not just about who you are when you play on Saturdays or Sundays. Like, you are real people with real feelings and thoughts and ideas. And, you know, I think it needs to be viewed that way. Right. I won't keep us too much longer because I've loved speaking with you guys. I mean, I think a couple of questions that that people have sent in are always going to be, do you have any advice in particular for upcoming youth?
I mean, Kadel touched on it watch film,
Yeah.
and watch more film. Like I don't feel like you can watch enough film because you learn so much from just seeing stuff over and over again. You understand tendencies, what teams like to run, formations, coverages. It honestly, it really helps. It brought my game to another level just watching film. And there's so much stuff on YouTube now as well, like and how to be a bit better athlete. There's like stuff like A&T performance. That's right, isn't that right, Glenn?
ATP.
ATP. People like
Shout out.
He'll pay you later for that.
I have to give my boy a shout out. And people like Usama 5-4 Performance, who are out there
Jeez.
helping people right now. So there's a lot. I feel like there's a lot more opportunities than when we first started. So just use them and use them and use them until they get sick of you, essentially, and then use them some more.
My advice to anyone watching this, like if you're a young kid, be more than a football player, man. Be more than just a football player, because at the end of the day, football has an expiry date. You know, football has an expiry date, and the percentage of people who make it are low. Always believe in yourself. Don't ever not believe in yourself, but be more than a football player. Be close to family. Never forget family. I was in Canada for 4 years, didn't go home once. I've been home. I've been into London. This is my 3rd time in London in 8 years. Be close to family and be more than a football player. You know, because the time you never get back. You enjoy it, but family means the most to you. So always be more than a football player.
David, you hit the screen, so you're up.
By default. I think, to be honest, I think it's just, watch film, get your speed up, man. I think that's one of the things that's opened my eye during this combine training. I think that at a young age, if you can work on your speed, get your film up, like football related, and just get your body right. I think like now we got programs like the NFL Academy, like helping kids in that. But if you don't make it that way, then do it yourself. There's a lot of things on YouTube, like Keanu said, ATP performance, and like it's just getting yourself right. And then
plugs.
I think family plays a big part, because during lockdown it was like a lot of people were like by themselves, and I think that really plays a huge mental game. When you don't have someone to talk to about everything that's going on in your day, it could really take a toll on you. Because if you just train, and you don't conversate with someone, or you just building everything inside, I think it like consumes you. And family plays a big role. I'm grateful that my family were all stuck with me during lockdown. So family, man. Family plays a big part.
Mine will be to play multiple sports. You know, whether you do track and field, or whether you do basketball, I feel like every sport has, I guess, like a niche or something specific that they help out with. And you know, there's always things that you can translate back to football. So you always find that like a lot of like guys who did basketball at high school might end up playing football in college, just because there's so much that translates. So you find like a lot of guys who do really good at track, they end up being really good football players, because again, there's loads of things that translate. So especially because you're young, don't feel like you have to like specialize in just football. You know, experiment, play different sports. You know, and I guess get as much as you can from those sports. Like I said, every sport has like, I guess, something unique to it that you can always bring back to football, that will always, I guess, make you a better football player. And then when it's time to, I guess, start specializing, you've taken what you need from those things, rather than getting to like our age and then you learn that, okay, I do, like David said, I need to work on my speed. Whereas if you had started doing track and field before, that won't be an issue. Or, you know, if you feel like, you need to get better at your vert, something like basketball is perfect for that, because you're always jumping, rather than getting to, again, our age and you're like, oh, damn, my vert isn't good enough, I need to work on it. So yeah, always like play different sports, enjoy playing other sports, and don't feel like you have to specialize or limit yourself to, I guess, one position or just football.
Sure. Yeah. And don't let anybody tell you what you can and can't do either. I think that's important. I think all of us have been told by a coach or somebody that we'll never be good football players, or we'll never make it, or this, that, and the other. But you gotta believe in yourself and keep pushing.
For sure. I mean, I guess my little piece of advice would be reach out for help. None of us got to where we are on our own. So don't be afraid to reach out, get yourself a mentor, whatever it is that you need. And people are wanting to help. They want to help elevate the game and elevate each other. So I mean, I can't thank you guys enough. This was an unbelievable conversation. And I know that, you know, everyone within Britball and beyond are going to be cheering for you no matter what happens, whether it's in football or what you do outside of football. You guys have really opened up doors for a lot of people and kind of broken the glass ceiling of what people from the UK can achieve. So I know we're all so grateful for everything that you do, and you've got our back. So thank you all so much. And thank you to INS management and Exosuit for putting this on together and sharing the stories of these 4 incredible athletes. Have a great night.